This is Beyond the Map. Most people see the sky in moments, a glance between buildings, a quick look when something catches the corner of their eye, a few seconds, and then, well, life moves on. But what happens when the sky is watched the same way every night for years? Not during an event, not after a report, but continuously. Tonight, we're not starting with a sighting, we're starting with an observation. Because when the sky is watched the way Dave Metcalf watches it, certain things begin to stand out. Not flashes, not streaks, but small luminous objects that appear, move, and disappear without behaving like anything that we're really familiar with. They're often described with a single word. Dave, for people who haven't encountered UFO Webcam before, was probably trying to solve some problem. And Dave is here tonight, and we're going to ask him. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you having me. It's a pleasure.
So, Dave, tell people how you got started on this venture with UFO Webcam. What problem were you trying to solve when you started this project?
Well, buddy, I tell you, it was really just a hobby is how it started out. Got a business that I was blessed to be able to build back in 2019. Literally was in a one-bedroom apartment, and just through the business flourishing and prospering, through the grace of God, I was able to move into a beach house back in November of 2023 in St. Pete Beach, private beach that we have as well. And I'm about a football field away from the beach itself. And the way it started was a hobby, to where I was just, of course, excited being on the beach, being in the beach house. And instead of watching TV, I'd be out on the deck all the time. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? You're looking at the beautiful stars, you're looking at the beautiful ocean, you're listening to it, nature. And so that's what I was doing. Basically, of course, I've always been fascinated with ufology. I've always been fascinated with NHI, non-human intelligence, and the fact that there's a possibility it could exist, right? Especially coming from a military background, my father introducing it to me, I'm 53 now, and introducing it to me when I was about 10, 12 years old, with the Roswell incident. And then it went on from there to George Knapp and Bob Lazar, and, really learning about this whole phenomenon as much as I could, right? Of course, I wanted to see it. I was part of a mass sighting in Atlanta back in 1998. After that, that was it, buddy. I looked and I was hooked, and I was like, man, I got to see something else. There's more, there's more, there's more. A few years later, some friends outside my place fishing off of John's Pass, real famous area in St. Pete Beach. I ran in to get dinner, which came out in 40 minutes, and they were frantic, jumping up and down, going, man, we just saw the most incredible sighting. And they explained it to me. One of the guys was actually in the NSA, worked on SR-71s. And I asked him specifically, what was it? And he goes, Dave, it wasn't ours. And we know a government man talks like that, buddy. It wasn't ours, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, okay, this is a guy who has knowledge. He's seen unconventional and conventional craft now, and he recognizes it. And so that blew me away to where the next 10 years, I'd looked and looked and looked and looked, of course, because when you get something like that and you just miss it, you're like, oh my gosh, I just missed the best sighting, of my life I could have captured. And so 10 years goes by. And I talk about this in my documentary, Friend or Foe. And I move into this beach house. And it didn't happen until I moved in November 2023. And then February 2024, buddy, I started noticing these lights, which now we recognize as what I call the classic orbs, moving over the ocean. Went from February 2024 all the way to right now. We have captured 1,500 videos, time, date stamp, from the same location on this beach deck. We have captured what we call 5 portals. 5 times we've captured these portals that are the size of football fields, also in the range of 5 to 8 miles out on the ocean, spinning, generating an energy vortex around it. Obviously, it's very obvious, showing craft, objects going in and out of these portals. So leading us to with how our geographic structure here is off the coast, and how you got to go so far out in the Gulf of Mexico to get in any type of depth of water of 200 feet or more. We're coming to the theory that we have portals here, man, right off the coast of St. Pete Beach that are appearing, literally, craft flying out. And that's why we are starting to realize all these sightings over the years in Tampa and St. Pete and these areas. Why wouldn't there be so many sightings if there are portals disappearing off our coast. And so our videos have actually tracked this even during the day, to where we have probably one of the only videos of a UFO fleet of 9 craft. It shows them slowing down, some turning, middle of the day, about 2 o'clock, and they're going into the same area where the portals. We have other craft that I call anti-gravity craft going into the same area. We posted this on our channel at UFO Webcam. So it turned in from a hobby to so groundbreaking, buddy, that I said, I have to expose this to the world, because it's almost like I'd see it, it'd blow my mind. I knew what I was looking at was not conventional and was something that was completely different. And I said, wow, it was like shouting out to the world and wanting them to know, right? And so the project has taken us to a level where we brought in scientists, research scientists. We have brought in people from the ex-CIA that have studied the material. We brought in MUFON 5 different times. One of the investigations was inconclusive because they didn't have enough evidence out of those 5 videos, but the other 4 were unknown in writing, and we put that in our documentary as well. So we just, we're not taking videos and, well, wow, this is cool. It could be this, it could be that. We want answers. And so we took it to a higher level. We're actually doing live streams on our webcam like never before, showing people this stuff live as it happened. And as we were doing that, buddy, and growing a lot of followers watching it like never before, we found ourselves being shut down by these channels, and they were shutting us down midstream. And we tried to get back up, and we realized there was a pattern that was created here. They didn't want our information getting out. And because some of it is sensitive, where we're out over the ocean, there's aircraft that are in there, and those aircraft are running sorties into that area, what I call the hot zone, a 20 square mile area that these things move. And I've mapped them over 18 months, literally from month to month, to where we can go to June's video and then go to this next year, June's video, and we're seeing the orbs in the same place. They're moving like herds of animals, man. And they're coming in and out of the water. We have video of this as well. It's fascinating.
So you've had these webcams running since for a couple of years now.
February of 2023 is since we've had the cameras running, and we have video going all the way back to that.
And you mentioned how your mission to capture this and share it with the world has evolved. I understand that someone from DC, someone from Oversight Committee on Transparency, or the Committee on Transparency and Government Disclosures, made contact with you?
So we took a risk by doing that, but we understand with the disclosures that's been coming out, with the whistleblowers especially, that it was a risk worth taking. So what we did was we contacted the UAP task force. Gosh, we realized with the UAP disclosure task force, I really felt genuine of what they were doing. I feel that they're really trying to release this, because I feel like something's happening.
Can you walk us a little bit through your technical setup and sort of demystify this for the listeners? What are you using technically, and how can our viewers who are interested in seeing what you've seen, how do they get this information? Where do they see your site?
Well, first of all, they're going to go to Instagram or TikTok. That's where we are predominantly at on our social media channels, and they'll go to @UFO Webcam. So it's @UFO Webcam. Instagram, we post a lot of our stuff. Now, keep in mind, 1,500 videos, and you might just see 60 on there. Now, talk about the setup of what we're doing, and I'll kind of show you as we go around. We've got a 500 millimeter telescope that we've been using to capture close-ups, buddy. Okay, this is a smart telescope. So the way these things operate now is they actually have a little stand here that we put the phone in. You don't look through this little eye hole anlight and try to capture it. It's all done amazingly through electronics. See some of our other stuff here. We have an Anki low light 4K camera that we're about to put on to add to our arsenal. We've just got the GoPro Hero, newest model. So we're going to be using that as well. Of course, we have other things we've talked about as far as UFO DAP that we're going to be bringing to the table, which is AI software. I'm going to show you guys the view here as far as what we're looking at. So this is really where I'm at. And this is a research, what I call our research deck. Buddy, the best thing about this is I live here. So it's like, I don't have to commute to work. I prefer to be out here in God's creation, right? And looking at what's happening, other than being on TV, watching TV like everybody can do. So kind of looking at the setup, you can see we've already got a 4K high definition camera that's on the wall, and it's controlled in here. We have our setup just our station over here that we have set up with that we can watch it through everything that's controlled by that. So the 4K high def's on the wall. It's always recording. We have literally thousands of hours, man, months and months and months. It's just amazing where we're going on this, because it was visual and video evidence first, because we hear so many UFO stories, and that's where I wanted to be different, buddy. The whistleblowers are great, and they're risking their reputations and their lives to do what they're doing. And man, I'm heartfelt. My honor goes out to them, and I pray for their protection. Right. What I'm doing is just releasing what's happening every day.
You mentioned a little earlier that you're only showing the stuff that makes the cut, and I guess you define the cut. Could you tell us a little bit about what would disqualify something from not being in your collection? What would you what would happen before you flag something as anomalous, and how do you rule stuff out?
Well, that's a great question. So I was actually talking to my fiance about that the other day, as far as how it's important that we don't just release stuff out there. We have to get verification. So we do use Vessel Tracker when we see objects on the water. We have Flight Radar 24 and some other software programs that we use to track planes, aircraft in the air. We've dealt with all the Starlink guys and all that stuff and coming against us on positioning, and we've ruled all that out. What we've done in a lot of those cases is, and I love to do this, buddy, is take video of these orbs where there's a thick cloud, storms in the background of these things. When you think about it, you have a big, thick cloud in the background, 10 miles away. We're tracking it on radar, and these orbs are appearing in front of that. And they're also, they're showing reflection on these clouds of their light source.
Yeah.
Not SpaceX, man, not Starlink or any other satellites. Now, the coolest thing is, buddy, even just a few days ago, I have 4 of these orbs that are showing a huge reflection on the water. I have captured this probably 20 times now, maybe more, 30 times in 18 months, to where now the orbs are having such a strong, powerful light source, and it shows their proximity to the ocean, to how close they are to the beach. Because what shows a reflection, that's on the Gulf, that, and you can see boats out there, and you can see the reflection of these orbs all the way to the beach, all the way to the shoreline. And that gives you the idea of approximation.
I wanted to ask you, after this 18 months of recording, have patterns emerged? Do you notice patterns among these things?
Gosh, that's the most exciting part, buddy, is we're taking this video data, right? This evidence. And we're not just like, hey, cool, we saw a UFO. We're looking for answers. We're looking for patterns. We're looking at the data. We're looking for that repetition. And what does that do for us? Repetition of what we're seeing can possibly bring us theories. That makes sense, right? It's really the only way you can really get theories is through looking at the data, looking at repetition, looking at behavior, similar behavior, right? And that is what we've been tracking over the 18 months, to the point to where, gosh, it's been incredible. We have been able to track the hour that these orbs start moving. Isn't that crazy? Now, there's so many objects, buddy, that we're tracking, we watch and we see now. But there's one specific orb that I call the classic orb. That's what I call it, because I see it so much. I see it every night, to the point that's the ones that are emitting a light. What's so exciting about that is I use the Beaver Lab telescope, the 500 millimeter, and I've used the iPhone 16 and the 4K high def, along with my own naked eye and others, and captured these orbs to the very second. That means timed on the telescope to when we click it off to start recording, we click on the iPhone 16 and the other equipment. So it's down to the second. And when we've captured it down to the second now, over 15 times we've done this. And I'll even say it on camera, buddy. We got it. We got it down right here. And so we're matching the telescope footage close up with the iPhone 16 and the visual. They are transmedium, so they can go in and out of the ocean. Okay. They can cloak. They can vanish, if you will. But I believe it's through chameleon characteristics that so many of our organisms have on this planet, right? So there's no artificial light source. There's no exterior light source of these objects that we call orbs, the classic orb. It's been proven by scientists, by biologists, that light is the number one form of communication on Earth. And I thought about it, but there's so much more. But when you realize out of 1,500 videos, it starts to get hard to find them, and you got to even catalog them. And that's why I started doing a documentary. It goes month to month. And our documentary, Friend or Foe, is our first one, which shows the story month to month and the videos that go with each night. It just goes all the way down the line, because you won't get the whole story on social media. I'm just going to post and I'm going to talk about this and that and this and that, right?
Yeah.
But when you go down every month to the day, I go day by day, week by week. So we did the first documentary, Friend or Foe, which covered May of 2024, May of 2024 to May of 2025. Yes.
So I know that when you put yourself out there and you are observing these amazing things and you're capturing things, it's a characteristic of most video, no matter how good the platform is, that these things turn out to be grainy or hard to see or whatever. I'm sure you've been attacked by skeptics along the road as you went down this.
Oh my gosh, right? So to the point that I even had to put up a $10,000 challenge on my social media channel, right? To go title to title. You know, you want to go title company, put your money in, I'll put my money in, we'll have professionals look at it. What we talk about is that it's not AI. We have the time date stamps. That's one, right? The other one, that we're not just pushing stuff out that are bugs, birds, dust, and stuff like that, right? Because we have actually put up posts on our channel of just bugs and bees zooming past the camera to where we can freeze frame it and still see their wings, still see their colors, identify that it's a dragonfly or a bug, right? But at the same time, you can see the movement of these objects and realize that they're real and they're definitely there.
Just curious, have you ever subjected your observations, introduced any infrared light or infrared sensitive cameras or any other spectrum that's kind of out of our visual range?
It's amazing and interesting that you say that, buddy, because yes, we have. We have actually used lasers, two different types of lasers, and we're looking in the laser. And interesting enough, we've used infrared quite a bit.
Now, for people who don't know the area, don't know Pinellas County or St. Pete Beach, tell me about the proximity where you are to things like sensitive military installations.
Sure. So again, coming from a military background, when you hear the bombing range, the F-15s dropping, right?
From Eglin Air Force Base.
Beautiful. And Tyndall in that area too. So I spent time there too. Of course, you know, they have MacDill here, MacDill Air Force Base. In the air base, I mean, as far as proximity, from here, about 15 to 20 miles, right? We see their planes all the time. This is what's really cool, buddy. We see their FAA signature lights.
Well, it's a fascinating story. What do you see as your next steps to further your investigation here, or to further your mission to share this with the world? What are you thinking's next, Dave?
So we use phones, my friend. And so that logic right there, do you see where I'm going? Yeah. AI. And I tell these people this, guys, be smart. Let's use your logic, okay?
Yeah.
They're not all using iPhone 16s and 17s like me. And they didn't just buy their phone just to record, you know.
It's kind of a hallmark of AI that it's sometimes better than the quality that you can capture for real.
Thank you, my friend. It's real. This is real life, okay? If you want the UFO to stop and them to get out and wave at you, you need to go somewhere else. You need to go off and watch a movie, or, you know, maybe look at an AI video, because you are accepting that, and it's sad.
Yeah. So, you know, just sort of a comment, I guess, is that as a society, as a culture, we're sitting back, we're waiting for government to inform us, you know, what the truth is. But some of us feel like it might be necessary to take additional steps, sort of take the bull by the horn. And where do you see the civilian monitoring effort like you're doing? Where do you see that fitting into this whole, you know, push for disclosure?
Exciting, unbelievable. But it's got to be the real people. It's got to be the real people. The people that aren't out there just for fame. The people that aren't out there just get in front of the camera, buddy. It's got to be from the heart and soul that you want to release this, because it's for the good of humanity. People ask me, well, yeah, you got a book, Dave, and Yeah, you let it go. Why are you charging for it? Well, because one, I have to maintain a business and a lifestyle where I live, man, and that doesn't come from the UFO business.
Yeah.
It comes from my heart and soul wanting to share this with people. Okay. And
Yeah.
people don't realize, buddy, the countless hours and time that it takes to edit video and find this stuff, man, to go through and say it's not a bug, or it is an orb, or it's not, it's a bird, or it's a plane. And
Well, Dave, I want to be respectful of your time. It's a fascinating conversation. I just will ask you in closing, if something like this has been around for thousands of years or maybe even longer and been just sort of quietly present all this whole time, what do you think our biggest mistakes are in trying or in how we've looked for it, how we've tried to document it and observe it?
well, it's time. One, research time is important. You can't. I mean, it's dedication, buddy. Right? It's time and research. If you really want questions and answers,
uh, we want you to keep up the good work, and we'll keep asking the good questions, and hopefully we'll be back together again soon. Dave Metcalf, thank you.
thank you, buddy. My pleasure. Thank you.
Before we close, I want to say this clearly and kindly. What you just heard tonight isn't meant to convince you of anything. I'm exposing this material to you, and it's meant to document and share an experience. Careful observation over time, and just made to help you ask better questions about what we think we're seeing. I invite you to watch and draw your own conclusions. Some of you will watch this and feel certain. Some of you will remain skeptical. And honestly, both those responses are probably valid. Here on Beyond the Map, we're not chasing conclusions. We're following patterns, evidence, and human stories behind them. If you like this approach, if that resonates with you, I'd invite you to like this episode, subscribe to our channel, and stay with us as we continue these investigations. We're also releasing shorter briefing episodes now, focused updates on developing stories and moments that don't always make it into the long form conversations or investigations we have. And those things are coming up this week. Thanks for spending time with us. Stay curious, and we'll see you beyond the map.